Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
It's lights out and away we go.
Alberto's got away beautifully at the start of the great race.
Who's that got off?
Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc.
Welcome to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show, brought to you by Procarts Race Centre.
Far enough back, he's going to make the lunge down the inside.
The ultimate pit stop,
The safety car is coming in
fueling your passion for motorsport.
with an emotional moment that means everything.
All of the latest results, analysis, and interviews.
Roar the drivers on to the final lap of this race.
I'm Jamie Lemura, motorsport enthusiast, historian, and media presenter.
And I'm Lee Harrison, motorsport professional, Sprint Master Karts race driver, and Formula One alumni.
Hello everyone and welcome to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show, proudly brought to you by True Steel Frames, live in the studios of Radio Tagliuno 87.6 FM on this wonderful Sunday evening. Across the desk I have my co-driver in this caper of ours. He's still recovering from his bruised ego after his excursion at the four-stroke endurance race. I had to get that in, Lee, you know that too. I'm going to harp on that a little bit later on. And we have some guests of ours which I'll introduce very shortly, but first of all, Mr. Lee Harrison. Have you managed to get all the gravel out of your go-kart and race boots, Mr. Harrison?
Negative. And it's not just my ego that's bruised as well. I'm still sporting a wicked underarm bruise here from where I smashed my arm on the engine when I landed, unfortunately.
When you taunt and tease the karma gods, they deliver in spades, and sure enough, it happened.
Yeah, no, look, not my finest moment, but the rest of the day was pretty good, I think. Me and Daniel put on a bit of a clinic driving in 4SS medium. Like, I was driving around at one point in the race meeting and there was a whole bunch of people sitting on the sidelines down the main straight, and I was like, if these people knew what they were actually watching right now, like, they were getting an absolute lesson in the mastery of driving a go-kart. Me and Daniel, nose to tail, bumper to bumper the whole lap, and pulling slide jobs on each other like they were going out of fashion. I had some of the most fun racing in a go-kart that I've had in the last 25 years on that day.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Did you get disqualified though at the end?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, what a day you had.
That's what happens when you make little boys cry.
We'll cover that later. We are in the presence of... We are seriously outclassed here in the... in, I guess, the quality and looks department here, must be said. I have with me the Glitter Gang, the Drift Ladies. We've got Lucy, Hayley and Bonnie in the studio. Hello.
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 Hello. Thanks for having us.
No, hey, our pleasure. We've really been advocates for women in motorsport for some time. Both of us have sort of had times where, you know, we've had women in our own race teams and competing, but we've also been advocating that sort of stuff. So when we sort of search on social media and then all of a sudden we see there's like almost a club of women that's in motorsport and drifting, it's like, hallelujah, let's learn a little bit more about this. So tell us a little bit more about the Glitter Gang.
So we're a bunch of six good friends who happen to have a mutual interest and love for drifting and all things attached to that. There's Bryony, Bonnie, Hayley, Kimmy, Renee and myself. We've just been brought together by a mutual interest in cars. That's turned into, track days and beginners development days and just an amazing community that just keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, wow. I'd imagine you would have, I suppose, when you've sort of walked in and, shaken the foundations of local motorsport, given the fact that it's predominantly been quite male-dominant, you would have faced all sorts of obstacles or, perhaps, the wolf whistles and all that usual rubbish that comes with it. Tell us a bit more about it. Like, how does it affect you? What does it impact? How does it impact, or does it even faze you?
Surprisingly, with drifters in South Australia, well, not that surprisingly, but drifting in South Australia has been like one of the most supportive networks, and I don't think any one of us has really come under any scrutiny from anyone in the community immediately. The only time that we ever get any backlash is sort of people online that don't understand what we're doing. They're not part of our community.
Yeah.
So we've basically had nothing but support.
Yeah.
Males or females, everyone's just been 100% supportive the whole time, which has been really good. Track days, guys, girls help each other out, and Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Have you all had a thing for motorsport or cars, or was it something that you kind of stumbled onto a little bit later on down the track in life? Or
Yeah, I think we all have, haven't we? I've grown up with Japanese cars. I think these two have as well. So it's always kind of been an interest from my early teens.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of developed from there, and yeah.
Yeah, wow, cool. We're just saying off air, we lovers of Jap. Well, some of us are. Our mate in the corner over there is just driving the Herbie. But yeah, what I guess tell us a little bit about yourselves. I'll fire off each name first. I'll start with Lucy. So what does Lucy do during the day, and how did you come across your first drift car and your exposure to motorsport?
Yeah, so during the day I work in the local government sector. I manage a community centre in the Adelaide Hills. So I work a lot with people, I manage volunteers, and get to enjoy a really different sort of environment in my work environment.
Yeah. So, and I guess first time of motorsport, was it when you were little?
Yeah, so I grew up down the Fleurieu Peninsula, and I sort of, grew up with surfing and horses and stuff like that, but I always just had this, like when I was on the farm, I wanted to be on the motorbike. I grew up watching rally with my dad, and Colin McRae was my hero. Like I had Windows 95 or 98 and I had Colin McRae Rally, and I just always had this innate love and interest in things with a motor. I lived in the country, and then I moved to the city and went to uni.
Yep.
And I'd always been into Japanese cars. Like I used to get Hot Fours and those sort of magazines. I used to go to the news agency and browse through them and see Nissan Silvias. I remember seeing an S13 at high school and just being like, I want one of those.
Yeah.
So I suppose since I was a teenager, I've sort of dreamed of having a Japanese car, and I ended up with a few now. So I don't know. There's just this thing in me that just loves cars and motorsport. So it's very genuine.
Good on you. And rallying, yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. My dad was the same for me. That was he used to love watching. So winding the clock back now and showing my age. World Rally Championship, but we're talking like Group A era, so 80,
stuff.
so 80 Quattros, Lancia 037s.
Yep.
So I'd be watching, and all the way through up to Carlos Sainz Senior, and Arkankin and all that sort of stuff. So I would watch that all the time.
Do you want us to leave the room? So
by all means, all good.
It was a good era.
It was great, great. But and so your first drift car, what was it?
Still got it.
Still got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So I've got a Nissan S13 Silvia.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought that, I think, nearly 10 years ago. I initially bought that.
10 years already?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nearly. So I bought that defected with the intention of having it as a street car, because I'd always just wanted one. And I had a few mishaps on the road and lost my licence.
And how long did that take, Lucy?
Yeah, not long. So that S13 very quickly turned into my track car, and I was just like, this is my time to have an outlet with driving, because I just love driving.
Yep.
I've done hill climbs and all sorts in it, and it's still with me today, and I love it so much.
Yeah. Hayley,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I'm a health and safety advisor for a large winery in the Barossa. So I got into Japanese cars in my, mid-teens. I had some friends into them. I bought a 180SX. It's actually my second car. I wanted an RX-7 for my first car, but my parents got me a VK Commodore. It was okay, I suppose. Yeah, probably.
No, don't knock the VK. The VK's a warhorse.
Hey, it was good. It lasted a long time. But after that, I bought myself a 180SX just for street use. And then from there, I got an S15 for street use, which I've still got that. I think I've had it for 14 years now, so it doesn't really leave the shed, but that's my baby. So from there, I guess I've always watched drifting. I've always been into it. Pretty much I guess I did like watching rally and stuff as well, but more the drifting, physically going to see that at Malala Motorsport Park. Did want to get into it, but I didn't really see any girls out there, so I didn't think it was something that I'd really want to get into. Didn't know what the males would be like, having a female driving there. But it was 5 years ago, my partner and I decided, you know what, let's just get a drift car. So we bought an R31 Skyline, so we share it. So it's an RB30 turbo converted, so yeah, and the rest is history. That's when I met the Glitter Gang too. So jumped on board with these guys and
Yeah.
fun time since then. Yeah.
Now I hear that you're a DJ as well, part-time. Is that true?
Oh, for fun. So we used to run play the genre drum and bass. So
Okay.
used to DJ a bit just for some local shows that we used to run at the Vine in Barossa. Kind of stopped for years, but the sparks kind of popped up again because there's this girl Kate that's running drum bass gigs in the Barossa now, and she's asked me to play as well. So jumping on board now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good fun, just for fun. So
Did you rip the decks out and have a bit of a crack, or still keep all your stuff? Or
yeah. I kept all my stuff. So I used to play vinyl records, but I just run. So I run the turntables. So yeah, good fun.
Pardon for the distractions, but for those playing at home, if you do hear some child noises in the background,
It's funny.
I've done the break. Very quick. Very impressive. We are seriously outclassed here, Lee, I'm telling you.
I'm thinking about leaving and just letting you guys run the show.
Yeah, and then I'll have to try and run the station myself. That's not going to be a good thing. I brought my kids into the studio. So I've been in Sydney all week with work, and I've literally came back yesterday. So it's day with Dad. So I've been at the go-kart track, and now they come into the radio station as well, and Orlando in particular is getting very excited. So I apologise to all of our listeners. Bonnie, your turn. Hello. And yourself, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a freelance graphic designer and pretty much specialise in anything kind of automotive, so I do illustration work as well, and just I don't actually do I mostly just get heaps of work come to me, and it always, because of how long I've been in the car community before, it's just always car stuff, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
I think cars for me started in Japan at a really early age, and I have no idea why, but I was always obsessed with Japan from really, really young, and cars. So that was like Micro Machines and Hot Wheels cars and all that sort of stuff. Also giving away my age with the Micro Machines, but
It's resonating with me, don't worry.
And then just as I got older, through school, just trying to learn Japanese, I found out when I went to Japan, I didn't learn anything. No one understood a single thing I was saying. So thank goodness for the Translate apps. I started driving Hondas, but I had 2 Honda Accords and they were both automatic. I didn't know this at the time, but apparently I was a hoon. So
It's a bit of a theme going here.
yeah. Driving was really fun. It was like my first taste of independence, really. So it's always been really important to me. My godfather's also in sort of late 80s, early 90s, had 2 911 Carreras.
Mm-hmm.
And so my obsession with those started pretty young as well.
Yep.
But yeah, moving on from that through high school, I started getting into Japanese imports then.
Yep.
The car that I was really obsessed with was a Toyota AW11.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually got one of those, so that's exciting. Especially now I could not afford to buy one of those.
And it's beautiful.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
It was.
But it's in each of you, there's just resonation with everything in terms of my youth as well. Don't know about our mate in the back corner over there, but
Silent.
you are. But I mean, so you get a drifting. Where do you start? Obviously, you get the car, and then what are we talking about in terms of setup? Because there's some pretty radical looking things out there, and so even some of the cars that I've seen on your Facebook page, roll cages, shifters and stuff. Where does one start to get into drifting?
We've all started in very different ways, and at different times as well, which is actually a really valid point to bring up when I discuss how I started. But if you want to start with how you started driving and your setup and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I suppose the great thing about drifting is there's so many different ways to do it. And there's so many different vehicles as platforms. The main thing is it's rear-wheel drive, and you've got some suspension components that you can play with and adjust your alignment and stuff like that. So I started out in my Nissan Silvia, which was non-turbo at the time, so had around 85 kilowatts.
Yep.
And
Powerhouse.
I always wanted, because I had my first car is a K70 Corolla, which I've still got. So I've always been used to low power cars that you've just got to, send it in, keep it pinned. But in terms of drifting, it sort of taught me, I suppose, pushing the car to the limit of your grip levels and, kicking the clutch and, working that control oversteer, which is what drifting essentially is. So,
Yeah, cool. And do you have to be a member of outside of your club? But is there like a state body that you have to be a part of in order to compete, or is it just free for all as long as you tick all the boxes and you've got a relevant license? Come out and slide around.
So in terms of South Australia, we're very lucky to have Drifting SA, which is the peak body and community run organisation. So Drifting SA run all sorts of drift schools. They run the state competition series, and they also run a lot of freestyle days, which, I suppose in terms of motorsport, drifting is a little bit different in the sense that it is a bit of a freestyle sport, instead of, lap times or race, so to speak. So, Drifting SA. So, depending on who organises or runs the event and how the licensing works, we work with racers and all the different bodies.
Yep.
So you can, pay for a day licence, and you can pay your Drifting SA membership and,
Yeah, cool. Who taught you all how to actually do it? Like, was it something that just became natural, or did you have an instructor to kind of guide you?
I don't think there's anything natural about drift. Basically, what drifting is the exact opposite of everything I ever taught about how to drive a car and how to operate a vehicle.
Yep.
So a lot of it's just sort of getting your head around that and unlearning all those things, but then you actually build up all those skills twice as much while you're doing that. But
I think I got a bit of help from rallying the Gemini in the front paddock. That's probably, learned a couple of skills that way.
Yeah.
I started like Lucy with an NA car, driving a AE71. I had a few K70s as well, though. I'm just trying to remember.
One does not simply have one K70.
Yes, that is also
one must not have one.
Yeah, a fact of Corollas. Anyone that's had one has got an obsession with it, had a minimum of 3. And how many Corollas have you had?
I think I've had 5.
Yeah, I think I've had.
And you would have had
5 or 6.
Yeah,
she's
like the Corolla queen. Absolute. Yeah, and her Corolla is absolutely amazing.
You got a favourite model? Like, is there one that really stands out?
Well, yeah, she's got a K70. I've got an A71, and it's essentially the same.
Yep.
It's the exact same chassis with
they're
different motors.
They're a go-kart to drive. No power steering.
Yep.
Just got a good feel on the steering wheel, and they're just bloody awesome to drive.
They're bulletproof. It's a struggle to find a Toyota that actually doesn't clock up, at least 500,000 K without too many difficulties. So. I think everyone at some point in time has had a Corolla or something along those, not necessarily that model, but I reckon in my family's history has been 3 at least, of varying eras and stuff like that too. And yeah, you're right, they're a great car to drive. I hear your stories now and I kind of wish I kept my Celica Fastback back in the day. That was my first car, 77 Fastback.
Oh, don't look up the prices of those.
I don't want to.
No.
It was the Mustang back too, so
Just to rub it in.
Beautiful cars.
They're a great car. Mine was mine. I found it on the side of the road for like $125, and it was originally a dark metallic green, and then for some inexplicable, and it looked like it had been around a paddock, and for some inexplicable reason, we decided to paint it and trusted a guy that was going to put a 2-pack on it, and it ended up being grass green. And but it was a great car to drive, and I still think that the 5-speed in it was probably one of the best gearboxes I've ever used. It just bang straight through all the time, no dramas. So had it been a 2-litre, I think I probably would have kept it. But it's a great little car. I miss it. I look back on it now, it's like, but yeah. Anyway.
Follow us on socials, join us on our website, negativecamber.co, and be sure to subscribe to the Negative Camber Club for access to exclusive content, episode previews, and special deals from our amazing partners.
Ready to turn your karting dreams into reality? Look no further than Pro Karts Race Centre. Imagine hitting the track in the kart of your dreams, a ride that matches your budget and aspirations perfectly. With our pre-loved kart sourcing service, we make it happen. Our Our experienced team isn't just about mechanics, they're dream builders. We meticulously hand-pick each kart, ensuring reliability, performance and sheer exhilaration. Whether you're a seasoned racer looking for an upgrade or a newcomer stepping into the world of karting, we're your pit crew, your partners in racing dreams. Get ready to feel the wind in your hair, the thrill in your heart and the victory at your fingertips with ProKarts Race Centre, where dreams truly come to life. Visit prokartsracecentre.com.au or pop in for a chat at 30 Research Road, Paraka. ProKarts Race Centre, fueling your dreams, igniting your potential.
I'm with the Glitter Gang, for those playing at home, just in case they think we mispronounce names. I've got the Glitter Gang here, and we are in the midst of... You can laugh, it's fine.
It just set us off.
God, it's been a blast. All right, so how did the Glitter Gang actually start? Who instigated it? What was the process behind it? Give us some history.
Well, in 2018, I think it was October, which
it was about then.
I remember that. Bryony and I had met not that long beforehand, and we discussed, I think, having an event at JDMX Park, which is a facility that's open every 2 weeks in Manbrae Creek. So it's a bit of a distance to get there, but it's definitely always worthwhile. Because it's the most accessible facility, we could go there sort of whenever was convenient. So we went there. We invited a few other girls as well. I think we had... Lucy was there, Kimmy was there, and...
Bryony?
Chloe?
Bryony and Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up all just driving together. I don't think too many other people came to the track that day, so we actually had the whole track to ourselves. And it was just sort of like a jam session for all of us to drive together and get to know each other. And over the years, it just sort of, we started picking up more people, and it's sort of organically developed more into what we are now. So we started organising more events, just small scale, again at JDMX Park, which was great for hosting us for those sort of events. And then it got to a point where we started giving briefing and then having to actually plan out what are the activities that we're going to do over the day. And a lot of it sort of focuses on just supporting the women. And rather than being a training day from us, it is more just providing a relaxed and
like a comfortable environment.
And inclusive environment for women to come just to try out, because starting out like all of us have at events where you are like the only girl, everyone's had more experience than you, it's incredibly intimidating. So we just wanted to take that intimidation factor away. And I mean, we're still developing with what we're doing with Glitter Gang and how we're coordinating everything, and it's just every event that we have, we get more experience from what it is that we need to be doing next. So we're all still like learning as well, but we're getting so much positive feedback that it's completely overwhelming and completely humbling as well for us. But yeah, it's been organically growing.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
Entity. And it's getting bigger and bigger. Our last event was like phenomenal. That was 1st of September this year.
Yeah, we held that on a Friday as well, and just the support that we had, like people taking days off of work. It was just a big event for a Friday, and just so much support. It was fantastic, and the feedback we got from the girls that driven for their first time, because we hired our Malala main track. And some of the girls, it was their first time ever driving. So, you know, for them to step out there on the main track for their first time, you know, the nerves, you know, we still get really nervous before our events. And for these girls, you know, I guess we all know what it was like for the first time we went out there. So, just for their feedback to say how much they enjoyed the day, it was, it feels really good.
Bad happened. You just fell down a pool.
Sorry about that. This momentary interruption is brought to you by Jamie's Kids. We're back from our temporary break. Lee's going to lasso them all in the other room. So in terms of an event, What's involved in it? Like, is it a series of obstacles, or are you like fastest time, or what's involved?
That's actually the really interesting thing about drift. It is completely unlike any other motorsport. It's a lot more like
technique and line and angle and...
Well, it's more like your skateboarding and BMX or like figure skating or those sorts of judged for your skills and ability and the techniques that you use that no two people, and same as surfing actually, no two people are going to do the exact same thing. So the judgment isn't based on something that fits into a complete category like that. So it's unlike any other motorsport. And it's difficult, I think, for a lot of people in other motorsports to understand what we're doing because it's not first over the line. That actually means absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the angle of your vehicle, the proximity to the car when you're in a tandem battle, which is actually a massive thing in South Australia, and it's not huge everywhere else. Like in Japan, it didn't start out with tandems. It started out as individual cars and just having your clipping points and proximity to like guardrails and specific places around apexes. But South Australia is very, very big on tandems, which is two cars driving together to get the closest proximity that they're able to. And it's also really fun.
It's so fun. It was building up. I was getting excited.
I can understand how like the intimidation part of it too, because you'd go in there and like, oh, what if I have an accident? Like, what if I bugger it up? Like, what if I write my car off or something drastic? But I guess, I mean, what are some of the things that you do to actually put the competitors' minds at ease a little bit and make them feel relaxed and comfortable to have a crack?
We don't have competitions for girls.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to take that fear factor out of it.
Okay.
The days that we provide is, we're developing more into days specifically for girls that are beginning and wanting to get into the motorsport, and basically be the transitional period for women starting and then just going into the large events that everyone's doing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good stepping stone for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, ultimately it would be cool, but at the same time, everyone's got their own opinions on how it works, but I don't think that there's any need to have a female versus a male, like, separate competitions because it's not your physical... I mean, it is physical, but it's not like a brawny kind of competing style.
Yep.
It's actually very heavily mentally draining more than anything. So it's just more about your analytical skills. I mean, like a lot of motorsports, obviously.
Yep.
And your car setup and just a big combination of things. So being a male or a female really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yep. That's one good thing I love about, well, one of the key things, and we've talked about it numerous episodes, is that it's the only sport that I can think of off the top of my head that is genuinely equal, like in the respect that who knows who's driving the car. It's only when they remove the helmet and get out the car that you realise that there's a different gender, male or female, or whatever.
Cameron's head's above the seat. And he has more tyre smoke. I'm like, yes, look at that tyre smoke. And I'm like, hang on, that's head's too tall. I'm like, that's not me.
Are there any stigmas, though, that you're still having to fight or that you're up against, though, in the sport or in the discipline? No?
I'm glad that we're all really struggling with this. Like...
the only thing we sort of laugh about is occasionally someone will come up when our cars are in the pits. Our partners might be around, and someone will just default and go chat to our partners like, "Oh, yeah, what's this got in it?" Or they're like, "Oh no, this is my other half's car." Yeah. They're like blown away. But
that's something
that's kind of cool
that we've both definitely. I'm assuming you probably have as well. When we go out to purchase car parts from like Marketplace or something like that.
Yep.
We don't get spoken to or looked at sometimes if we're there with our partner because they don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Or they're in shock.
What's happening? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, like, in terms of getting parts and stuff like that, I mean, is it something that you're having to replace quite regularly, like tyres, I'm assuming, but any other mechanicals, or is it just literally when it fails, then you replace?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. It's like consumables and the oils and that sort of stuff because you are putting engine under tremendous load, you want to be doing really, really frequent oil changes.
Yep.
Every event we do.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
No, I shouldn't.
How often, so are you doing rebuilds at all for your motors and stuff like that?
Oh,
have I hit something? Have I hit a nerve?
Yeah, I mean, drifting's really hard on cars. You know, we're trying not to have things sitting on limiter. You know, our oil temps are getting up. You know, we've got to look after stuff. And, you know, we're now in a space where a lot of the cars that we've got, their parts are very expensive. Like even just sourcing blocks, heads, spare parts, things are getting finite. So, you know, you've got to you got to have that extra layer of, like, you know, contingency planning to keep doing this sport because our motors are pretty highly strung and we've got to look after them. So you know, there's a lot of stuff secondhand, but the prices are going up. So that's why we're seeing a lot more, you know, Euro cars like BMWs, Commodores coming into the scene because, you know, it's expensive if we bin one of these cars or we bin one of these motors.
It used to be cheap.
It used to be, like, you know, I bought my S13 for $2,000. Now they're like 20. So, you know, we've just got to have that in the back of our minds, I suppose.
We did get very lucky for a long time, taking all this sort of stuff for granted. We just, like, if you blow something up, you just get a new one within the weekend. And now it's you need to source, like, individual parts of, like, the block and then get that built somewhere, and it's expensive.
And you know, all of us, like, we do stuff at home in our garages at home. So, you know, we try and save money that way. But
try to.
Yeah, it's and, you know, at an event, you know, as your skill levels go up and we've got more power because we're getting better. Like, you know, some events we've chewed through, I don't know, 10, 12 pairs of tyres, like, and then E85's not getting cheaper. You know, it's good for your engine temps, and E85's fantastic to run, but, you know, it's not cheap. It used to be cheaper than 98, but now it's more expensive. So, you know, an event, you've got your track entry, your tyres, your fuel, potentially trailer hire, and then breakages, you know, lots of suspension components. It's hard on, you know, tie rods and all that sort of stuff. So,
and tow car fuel as well.
Tow cars.
And that's the thing that always blows my mind. You're actually driving a car and you're bringing another car to go drive that car somewhere, and it just seems like the weirdest notion. Like, if an alien was, like, watching what we were doing, they would be so confused.
I've never thought of it like that.
No.
Has the prices though increased, like, because of COVID and all the supply and chain stuff, or is it because of the fact that the cars are getting older and they're not manufacturing those engines anymore, and so therefore parts are getting more and more scarce as people start to chew through them?
A bit of that, and it's also, I think, America opened up the floodgates of being able to import cars there, because they weren't able to do that for a long time, and then suddenly they could, and now it's hard to find cars in Japan.
Yes. Yeah, well. Yeah, when you travel to Japan, it's like there's not as many S chassis or whatever on the road. It's like they're
who'd have thought, like, Japan of all places.
They're all
they exported everything. Nothing's left.
What they would do to increase their yen. Oh well, what can you do? So, what are the plans, I guess, moving forward now for the glitter gang?
I guess just planning next year's event. I think will be the next step.
We haven't actually planned next year's event, but we've had a meeting not that long ago about having some beginner-specific days, and then having, like, after the success of our Matsuri that we just had in September, having another day like that where we have different groups for us to have a bit of a thrash as well together. And potentially get to take girls out on rides that aren't brave enough to start yet, but once you get someone in the passenger seat, they get the bug very, very quickly, and then they feel a lot more encouraged to come out to one of our events or a Drifting SA event.
I suppose all our events have just grown exponentially, like, since 2018. Like, you know, initially we just thought it was, a safe environment to bring chicks out and drive. But now it's like we've got teenage boys looking up to us as role models. We never anticipated that. We've got people just wanting to come out to a track day to actually just see what drifting's all about. So, we're sort of having to cater for a wider audience with our events, in terms of now we've got the girls who started our beginners days in 2018 are now quite advanced. So we've got this amazing, like, great breadth of skills and the community is just growing. And, you know, we have even had girls from interstate coming to our last event, Matsuri, that we run.
How cool is that?
We would have started off with probably 10 ladies at the start, and now we've got maybe up to 30, probably, do you reckon 26 to 30? Yeah. That's probably at least attended a day or driven once.
Yeah.
And I suppose, when we actually plan Ladies' Days, like as a community group that we are, we've initially had to take the risk on booking a track day with 12 places. We've actually got to make those 12 places. We got to fill those 12 places to actually pay for the track day.
Yeah, wow.
So we're taking pretty big risks with booking tracks, and then hoping we get the numbers and learning a lot. We've all this. The learning curve's been huge. Like learning marshalling, learning having tow and recovery, event management. Just all that stuff, it's been a great journey together. And there's 6 of us, so we have an amazing skill set, like breadth of skill sets between all of us. Like Kimmy's a mechanic, like she's in the trade. Yep. Renee's, a professional in PR and all sorts. We've just all got amazing skills between us. Apart from
so lucky with that, with each one of us individually bringing something like amazing to the group. Like if we'd actually put out an ad in the paper and said we need people to fill these specific skill sets, like I don't think we would have done as well as we have. I think we're super lucky in that regard.
Yeah, how cool is that though? Really, like you've developed life skills, like you've got the ability to work on your own cars, like you have to be tuned mechanically, you've got all these other stuff that you're running the events with, and I think it's amazing. Like, and clearly people are buying in, because otherwise you wouldn't be having the following that you've got. But then also, I guess, moving forward, are you looking for things like sponsorship dollars or anything like that to help with the funding and that type of thing? Like, what does one have to do to help you out?
We'd love to look at growing in that space. Because, obviously the financial side of things is only getting harder with how the economy is. Yeah. We'd love to. And we're growing, like, exponentially in terms of, like, Bonnie's set up an amazing website, and just having all your ducks in a row with, how we operate and how we, operating the whole thing.
Great. All right. What is a Matsuri? I got no idea. Because I saw it, I'm thinking that sounds cool, but very Japanese. But what is it?
It is the Japanese word for festival, essentially.
Okay.
So
it's like a drift festival.
Yeah, it is a drift festival, which is something that they have in Japan, where it's not a competition. It's everyone come and have fun with your friends day, and that's exactly what we do.
Yeah. Nailed it.
And so, you got really good response for that event, because that was early September, I think it was?
Yeah, 1st of September, that one.
We had some media there, which was really good.
Yeah.
Advertising.
We had the advertiser. We got that government grant that I think Renee and Bryony were very involved in all of that.
Yep. So that was through the state government. We won the SA Car Club's grant scheme. So that's how we could run the event on the scale that we run it.
That's cool.
It was through tourism, which is how we got deals from
interstate
to come.
Yep. Wow.
We were able to help them with a bit of cost.
Yeah, and we had Rhiannon Pearce MP out, and she came out in my car.
In Lucy's car.
For the first time as a passenger, and that was wild. But just exposing drift and motorsport to people that, and just like you guys would feel it too, just educating people on, the actual skill that's involved to do what we do. We're not just a bunch of, hoons, wrecking up the place.
That horrible word.
Yeah, we're a passionate community, and we've got each other's backs, and we just love what we do.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, my as we're driving into the studio, my daughter asked who I was speaking to tonight. I was pretty much saying that's a group of girls that race cars and they do skids around the track. I was trying to explain it to an 8-year-old. So, but I mean, she sees it and she's exposed to it. But now all of a sudden, she's starting to get into motorsport a little bit, even just by something simple like wearing Valentino Rossi hats and whatever. I don't discourage it, but then I don't ram it down her throat either. It's more like, it's okay. It's cool to like cars and be yourself and enjoy it, So I think, you're all trailblazers, really, and you're inspiring, women to feel comfortable to get out there and just let it out, and good stress release, but also it's for them, I would imagine that they'd go back home to their partners and actually tell them what they did, right, and actually feel like one of them, if they're into motorsport and that sort of thing too. I mean, I think it's great. Awesome.
That's a really big part of what we want to represent is just the right attitude towards the whole motorsport, because we do understand that we are, I can't remember the word that I'm looking for,
Community leaders or
role
models or something?
We're trying to role model for girls coming into the community and for boys coming into the community as well, to see that there are women doing this as well, and this is normal, and this is just part of how this motorsport runs. And I think it's just as important for boys and girls to be exposed to that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's more of an attitude that we're trying to facilitate than actual specific skills. Like some of us will get in the cars. Lucy's an amazing cheerleader for that. Hopping in cars with girls and helping them out with techniques and that sort of thing. But for the most part, I think we're just trying to encourage them and make sure. Like, one of the best things I've ever seen is two girls at an event that didn't know each other started helping each other out in the pits. And supporting each other, and seeing that was the most humbling thing I think I've ever seen at one of our events, because that meant we are doing the right thing. We are providing the right atmosphere to encourage girls to encourage each other.
Yep.
And we've had a lot of feedback from a lot of different people that, you know, when you come to one of our events, we are actually authentically the people that we are online. And, you know, the vibe is so inclusive and friendly and welcoming, and that's, you know, what we're all about.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great.
A huge thank you goes out to our podium partner, Procast Race Centre, and our incredible sponsors. Your partnership allows us to continue bringing you this show and dive deeper into the world of motorsports. If your business adds value to the motorsport community, get in touch with us to become a Negative Camber partner.
Time to discover more than just a track. It's time to find your racing family at Prokarts Race Centre. We're more than a racing facility. We're a community of enthusiasts bound by our shared love for motorsport. What sets us apart? Our commitment to inclusivity. We're breaking barriers, welcoming rookies and pros alike to experience the thrill of racing. With our low investment pathways into karting, we're paving the way for the next generation of racers. Whether you're a seasoned racer seeking camaraderie or a beginner eager to learn, Prokarts Race Centre is your home. Join our vibrant community, feel the passion and share the rush of victory with friends who share your passion. Visit prokartsracecentre.com.au or pop in for a chat at 30 Research Road, Paraka. Prokarts Race Centre, fueling your passion, igniting your potential.
All right. Dream car. What's the dream drifter, if you had one? I'll start with you first, Lucy.
F40?
F40 drifter.
No. That'd be pretty good, actually.
She's done some research on me, I'm telling you.
I love F40s.
Do you love F40s?
Yes.
Oh, bless you.
Exy game. Yeah. Drift car, though, I love S13s.
Yep.
What I've got.
You've got it.
Yep.
I've got two of them, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference over one over the other, or is there one that's like the favourite?
My street car's beautiful. It's just sitting in the garage waiting for me to have time and money for it, because the drift car's just, done a mischief on its motor. But
nice.
It's done very well, though. That motor's been through a lot.
My motor's been through a lot, and we built that nearly 7 or 8 years ago in the garage at home. So
see, that is a good effort.
It's done very well.
That's not bad. 7 years.
I love that engine. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I reckon probably an S15 or an RX-7, like an FD. I think.
That sounds expensive.
FD. If I remember my RX-7s, we're talking one of the sleeky looking one, early 90s. Yeah. That was my favourite one. That and the SP, FD SP model. I want the one, the 12 hour. Yeah, nice big ring at the back. But they are worth a mint. At least $100,000 now.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to crash it, but they sound and look nice, so. Yeah.
I remember my brother's uncle used to work and used to be the sales manager for Australian Motors Mazda when those Mazdas were released. So I've actually still got the original brochure of that car. And because my dad used to love rotaries. He had about 3 or 4 of them back in the day. So RX2s, RX3s, RX4s. And then he bought a Series 2 RX7 just before my parents split up. That's probably a way to say it. To give the 2-finger salute to my mum. But and that car's worth a mozza now. I don't know whether he still kept it, but it was the rotors are cool. I love
rotors. Yeah.
RX3s are very nice.
Yeah, RX3s are one of my favourite cars, and I was going to actually get an FD RX7 instead of my S15 at the time, but I chose the S15. Now, I don't regret my choice. Like, I love my car. I'd like to have both. Would be nice, but it's not gonna happen.
Your S15 is like bang on perfect.
It is a lovely car.
I have absolutely no idea what my dream drift car would be. I love my car so much, and I've had the Corolla I've got now for about 17 years, and it's been through 4 motors now, I think, and it's been through like a million different facelifts, like you wouldn't even know. It looks like I've had about 6 different cars in the one car. But if I didn't have that, I did drive my partner's S14, so an S chassis would definitely be quite nice because there's a lot of different techniques you can do in one of those that you can't do in a Corolla. Is it to do with independent IRS, yeah, which I don't have. My car's not that independent, so yeah, that would open up a whole bunch of other driving techniques that I sort of have to try and learn how to drive around in my car, which I'm already finding a bit hard when I try and like come up onto an S chassis like car. They can peel away from me very quickly, where I don't have that kind of side bite in my car, so I can't quite do the same thing. So it's going to be a bit of a mission trying to learn how to drive around that. But
yeah, I've got the same issue with the 31, trying to keep up with like Lucy. Yeah.
Many GTs or like GDRs, I should say, or Nissans that float around still like R32, 33 shape, or is it more your Silvias and Corollas and that sort of thing that are
you have
beating on the tracks?
Yeah, you have quite a few, 32s, 33s, yeah.
Not GDRs, but
just a normal GT.
Even they're worth a lot now.
They've all gone up.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Yeah, like I don't know whether it's because of the age of the car or the fact that they are getting quite rare, or COVID's just jacked up the prices. But
I think it's all of it, I reckon. It's just it's ridiculous.
I kind of feel like I missed the boat, like to get something like that 5, 6, 7 years ago when they were sub 10. Whereas now, forget it. So yeah, hold on to what you've got. That's for sure. Do you have any mechanics or people, businesses that help maintain your cars, or is it all literally in house for what you do? Opportunity, give them a plug if you want.
Yeah, we do a lot ourselves. There's a lot of great businesses like Sleeker Spares and Scott's Tyres, and businesses we work with a lot that are really great with that. Help us out with just being awesome. So
because I had my motor rebuilt about a year ago now through Milton's Engineering, who Lucy's partner advocated highly for them. And they've done a brilliant job of that. Simon Micklemore does a lot of wiring, and he does a lot of like mechanical stuff as well. And he's got a place up in Nairn that he works out of, which I think he's moving soon. But we've got a lot of people within the community that have their own businesses as well. But I mean, that's another big thing when it comes to sponsorship for drifting. There are sponsors, but it's within the community and it's people's own small businesses as well. So there's only the finite amount of money in the pool that we just basically keep recirculating within each other. It would be really amazing for the sport if we could get something like a lot bigger to sort of help us all out with that sort of thing. And 2 weeks ago I was lucky enough to go to the LZ World Tour in Melbourne, which I'm really hoping is going to have a huge impact on drifting in Australia, because it's really just open people's eyes to what the motorsport is. It is a very showy motorsport as well. So it's brilliant for spectators. We recently, what was that? The Motorsport Festival in that city?
Adelaide Motorsport Festival?
So they actually invited some drivers to drive that, and we had a handful of some of our best drivers in the state driving that. And they had people coming from everywhere at the place to come and see these people drive, because it's such a spectacle. And it started raining on one of the days as well, so everyone in their cars, engines off, stopped driving. Drifters were out there and they were just doing crazy backwards entries and all sorts of things. And the crowd was still standing out there in the rain, which is testament to how exciting the sport is, and it is frustrating how underrated it is. So it would be really amazing for it to get the recognition that it really deserves.
I remember seeing some footage. My brothers went to that to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, and they've got footage of coming out into Victoria Park of the drifters going out there and doing their thing. So it's one of those sports that, you know, it doesn't really matter of the track condition per se. You're out there just letting it rip. Yeah. With in terms of the actual car itself and the modifications that you've done, I'm assuming it's a roll cage. Do you have is it just a standard gearbox? Do you have semi-automatic? Do you have special clutches? Like, what mods would you normally do? So say I came up to you with my Civic and put a manual gearbox in it. What else would I need to do to just get out there and have a belt?
Drive it backwards because it's a front-wheel
drive. Good point. All right. On to the next question.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing's seat time. So just getting out and driving. So I think keep your setup basic.
It's not the first time we've heard that.
Not the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, seat time is king. So, you know, as long as you've got an LSD or a locker.
Or a welded diff.
Or a weldy. Hell yeah. And, you know, all of our cars have the OEM gearboxes. I think as long as you treat them right and you're not, you know, running crazy clutches, or where your weak point is in your drivetrain, as long as you're, you know, looking after them and putting good oil in them and stuff.
Yeah, and it kind of, I guess it depends what level you're at and how you want to drive. Like if you want to drive with people, you got, you know, like cages and that sort of thing. If you want to take passengers, you know, I guess it depends on your level, kind of what modifications are like a legal requirement that you need to do as well. So, you know, if you just want to go out to skid pan, for example, I think you can just have like a normal factory seat and seat belt and stuff like that. But yeah, as you start getting,
but it feels awful.
One side to the other. But, so also it depends on the level of driving, what you want to do technically.
There are some people that have like ridiculous like dog boxes and all sorts of crazy stuff as they level up with the amount of power. Obviously, like Lucy was saying, you need to make sure your drive chain is keeping up with the amount of like rear end grip that you've got going on. Which is also a thing that people don't understand is you do want grip in a drift car, and that blows most people's minds.
Or if you do a lot of clutch kicking like me, you might want a good gearbox and clutch.
I'd imagine that there'd be some people that would splash some extraordinary amounts of cash on these cars. Like, you know, there'd be
100%.
like presentation would just be off the charts, and, you know, the tech that would be involved in it would be insane.
Yes. That's one of the beauties of drift as well, though. Everyone's car is individual and unique to the driver. So everyone's tastes are very different, and you know two cars are the same. You'll see some that are kind of similar, but there's so much detail and finesse in styling a vehicle and
rattle cans and fence sheets on ours. That's perfect style.
Exactly.
So much effort's gone into it. I think we even sprayed over the spider webs and the moss.
I've done that on a daily.
I've seen some cars that are like missing a headlight here, or like there'd be like half a bumper there, and a, you know, radiator coming out.
Is that going to ask?
No. Well, is that like a thing? Is that like for any technical reason, or it's just because?
Well, Lucy's missing a headlight on purpose.
Yes, my headlights are very expensive. They're like $1,000 each.
What?
Well, you've only got one in there now, so
you've got one in there for the air induction.
Yeah, I was going to say once would be an air induction.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
it is
cost saving.
And they're really expensive.
Yeah, that's probably being conservative with the figures. But
wow, that
brick headlights for S13s are just
Gee, that's insane. So you got forced air induction through one spot. Yeah.
Don't know how much it does, but
looks cool.
Yeah, it looks rad.
Yeah.
But drifting is like a part of drifting as well. Is there's like a real aesthetic, and there's even different subcultures of the aesthetics within drifting.
Yeah,
you know, that's half of it. Some people have very non-functional cars, like they've got, you know, a hell of a lot of negative camber, and
pun.
Yeah, and they're slammed and they're not very drivable. So you know, there's a lot of different.
It's a very form versus function, and people are very like true to whatever their preference is.
I love it. Like I love, you know, we've had the front guard sucked in. You just get out with the jack handle and you just get on the wheel and you just push it out. I love doing that. It's the fun of it.
Ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming into the studio. Hey, get behind it. What you're all doing is incredible and also really special and unique. And I think you're a trailblazer. And I can only see things just going up Not that we're contributing to that, but
You are.
You definitely are.
By just inviting us. Thank
Yeah.
you.
no, that's all right.
Well, while he's gushing, how about how does anyone get in touch with you? Like, if there are any female listeners out there that want to join in or come and see you girls and guys at a drift day, where do they go? What are the social channels? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, so we've got a Glitter Gang Drift Ladies Facebook, Instagram, and we've also got a website, www.glittergangdriftclub.com.
I think
.au?
something along those lines.
Yeah, .au.
I mean, Google usually helps a lot with figuring out where that is. You can type in Glitter Gang and you will actually come up with some of our stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, mostly through Instagram and Facebook is the best way to get in touch with us.
Yep, amazing.
You've reached the checkered flag of another episode of Negative Camber the Motorsport Show, proudly brought to you by ProKarts Race Centre. A huge thank you to you, our incredible listeners. Your support and passion for motorsports fuels our enthusiasm to bring you the latest results, analysis, and interviews from the racing world. Keep that FOMO at bay by subscribing to Negative Camber on your favourite podcast platform. We'd also love it if you could leave us a review and share the show with your fellow racing enthusiasts. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, Negative Camber is more than just a podcast. We're a community of dedicated fans who live and breathe motorsports. Follow us on socials, join us on our website, negativecamber.co, and be sure to subscribe to the Negative Camber Club for access to exclusive content, episode previews, and special deals from our amazing partners. Until next time, stay fueled with passion, embrace the Negative Camber, and keep chasing those podium finishes.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.